How can I socially interact if I'm by myself?
Not my idea. That's a fearless idea.
All right. So we'll start the fifth meeting. We'll start with the fifth meeting with student concerns and general announcements.
Hey everyone, my name is Branson. For those who don't know me, I'm the Orbital Textbooks campaign coordinator for Americorps. Sonia couldn't make it this week, so I am sort of like your Sonia this week. I have a couple of updates for you. Let's see, the first update is I wanted to thank, Americorps wants to thank everybody for their help with National Voter Registration Day. We had about 16 volunteers come out and help, and a total of about 40 people signed up to vote, so that's a huge accomplishment, as well as, okay, thanks. And then a whole bunch of other people who signed up through the online link as well. We can have the county election commissioner come in, so that's a pretty big thing, I would like to think. Second thing is those who helped with the climate strike, thank you for that as well. That was pretty successful. Rough headcount had about over 100 students show up at the Caldwell Library to meet up, and several more at NTC. Pretty big stuff there, and it was pretty cool to see everybody from UMD come together with such a big issue like climate change. And I guess my last thing is that voter registration events with church folks coming up later. More details will be on that maybe next week. So if anybody wants to learn more about that, come to me I guess later, or talk to PJ or Nick Hay, who's the Americorps community campus organizer. So I think that's all I have, and I will just say out loud there. Thank you.
Any other student concerns or general announcements? All right, seeing none, we'll move into roll call. Please say you, when I say your name, Adam, Duan, Neelan, Kendra, Tori, Kenza,
Yes.
Jamie, Cole, Snyder, Maggie, Alicia,
Here.
Shohan, Josie,
Here.
Joanne, Joan, Ashley,
Here.
Kisley, Cole Watler,
Here.
Melissa, Miller,
Oh, here.
Alicia,
Here.
Jake, Sherm, Clinton,
Here.
Anna,
Here.
and Kirk,
Here.
Thomas, Alex Lambert,
Here.
Melanchuk,
Here.
Malawi, Santiago, Jared, Matthew Sherman, Solomon, Jordan,
Here.
and with that, I will call the fifth meeting to order. The time is 6:05. Has everyone had a chance to read the lovely minutes written by our new secretary? Any motions on the minutes? Hearing none, so approved. So now moving into speakers time, we'll start with just a brief introduction of our new associate director of staff. If I got that right? Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Okay, a little sleepy, I get it. My name is Bridget Bailey. I am a new associate director in the STAMP. So my new role there will be to coordinate efforts from 4 units within that organization that produce a lot of programming for students. So student activities, student engagement, leadership, community service, learning, as well as MICA. My office is located within the MICA suite, so I would welcome you all to stop by at any time and look for further opportunities to hear from me and for a chance to meet with you as well. Brief and to the point, you have a long agenda, so I'm going to pass the mic I believe, to you or to Georgina? Okay.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Hello, everyone. I'm Georgina Dodge. I'm the Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion.
Can we close our computers, please?
Now everyone's actually looking at me. It's like, okay. I've been here on campus since June 17th. That was my start date. And so it's been a little over 3 months now, and I'm pleased to be here and delighted to have a chance to see all of you and to talk with you. I have a really long presentation that I would like to do at some future time. I will not do it today. And that long presentation actually, I think, would be of interest to you. I want to update you on the progress we've been making on the recommendations from the Task Force on Inclusion and Respect here. That was the recommendations that were put forward last year. But again, that's a much longer presentation. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to do a much shorter presentation this evening just to kind of get us situated and give us a chance, give us some talking points. And I'm hoping that we'll have some time for a little exchange and some questions and comments from you as well. So again, as I said, I've been here a little bit over 3 months. We can probably go to the next slide. And over that period of time, people have been asking me, so what have you heard as you go around talking with people? What have you observed about our campus? How would you describe our campus climate? And that also is a much longer presentation. But I tried to put a few points here on these slides. I think that some of the strengths that I found here on the campus is, in fact, the demographic diversity of the student population and of the general population. The expertise that exists in offices such as the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, as well as in other spaces around campus, and the interest and commitment across campus. And I've had the opportunity to talk with a lot of individuals and really seen how invested they are in having an inclusive community here on campus, even though not everyone necessarily has the tools to make that happen. And in terms of the challenges that we face here on campus, as you can see, one of these items is repetitive, the demographic diversity. One of the things that we all like to think is that if we have diversity, it is a wonderful thing, which it is, and that it's easy, which it's not. Okay? It actually takes some work, it actually takes some thoughtful approach for us to be around people who are not like us in ways that are genuine. Another challenge that we face on campus is decentralization. And for those of you who are interested in higher ed, for those of you who are around higher ed, at any point in time, you're going to hear this all the time. Oh, we're a very decentralized campus. And it's usually followed with a chuckle. Everyone always says that, everywhere in higher ed, every campus I've ever been at. You know. And there's a lot of truth to that. And decentralization can be a good thing, but it can also be a hazard. Things can become so decentralized that there is a lack of responsibility. And there's a lot of research coming out around this topic, usually focusing on crypto assets, things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are supposed to be decentralized. And decentralization often becomes a veil for corporate responsibility. It's like, who's really responsible when things go south? Nobody. And that can happen to a campus, a college campus, as well as other organizations. And so it's something that I'm having a lot of conversation with administrative leadership to talk about this very issue. It's like, if we have so much decentralization, what's falling between the cracks? And I bet you could come up with a list, but I'm going to move on. Another thing that's a challenge here on campus is communication. I don't think that communication is necessarily done very well or effectively. I've moved away from this idea of, making sure everything is very transparent, because I'm not really sure what that means anymore. And I'm not sure it's what we want necessarily. But I do think that communication is vital to understand that we all have the information we need to function and that we all have some idea of what's going on. If you don't have communication, the lack of communication breeds mistrust. And I think that that is something that has occurred here on this campus. And then under-resourcing, and I'm speaking specifically here of under-resourcing of diversity and inclusion. One of the things that I do want to make clear is I know there was a study done 3 years ago that looked at the amount of money that was being put into diversity efforts across campus, and that number was something staggering. I can't remember, was it $12 million or something, really high. It was big. And that's absolutely true because there are pockets of action happening everywhere on campus. But because those pockets aren't necessarily informing one another, back to that issue of decentralization, we're not really seeing a bang for the buck. And so efforts may not be effective and they certainly may not be sustainable. Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the the primary unit that reports to me, which is the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. Some of you may have a lot of familiarity with that office, some of you may not. I put their mission statement up here because I think it's important for you to see exactly what we are attempting to do through that office. And drawing attention to building stronger communities, as well as providing people with the tools to create a more just and compassionate world, recognizing it's something that we certainly can't just do ourselves. I wanted to just quickly run you through the subunits that are located within the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, starting with the one that was added most recently. This came about, again, as a recommendation of the Task Force on Inclusion and Respect, that we create a hate bias response team. And so the hate bias response and advocacy protocol is in place. And I love sharing pictures of beautiful people. So here's Nejma on the picture. She is now the program director. She was elevated from being a program manager to a program director, and we're actually going to be hiring a program manager. And the reason for that is because of the volume. And that, as we all know, that's both a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because more students are aware, people generally are more aware of the existence of the office, and so they're making use of that resource. It's worrisome because we have to wonder, are incidence levels increasing? Of course, we don't have a prior measurement because this is a new initiative, so we don't have a way of comparison. But what's going to happen is that they're going to make it a point in future years to actually give us annual reports so that we can begin some of that tracking, which will be very helpful. Before you move on, one other thing that I wanted to point out really quickly is that second frame, that second bullet point, which is important, which is that all hate bias incidents actually get reported to our police department, the on-campus police. And I know that a lot of people aren't aware of that, and it's an important point because even though they are not crimes, and they're not necessarily something that the police are able to follow up on, it's very important to see how closely networked the hate bias response team is to other units on campus. And the police want that information in case something occurs that may later be used in a criminal matter. They have that information close at hand. And it's important also to understand how various compliance units across campus are currently supporting one another. Thanks. And then we have diversity training and education. One of the things that I want to point out here, there's some great programming going on under the leadership of Carlton Green, who some of you may actually know from his previous incarnation as a counselor in the Student Counseling Center. And Carlton has been really wonderful about bringing different groups together in various types of dialogues. That last bullet point, we are going to be establishing an NCBI affiliate. It's the National Coalition Building Institute, which is an international organization actually that has the rather audacious goal of eliminating prejudice. And the affiliate, we're going to be focusing on staff and faculty participation initially, but we are absolutely going to be encouraging student participation as well. It's a train the trainer model. I think that some of you during your time here may be actually interested in being trained to become a facilitator for the program, and we would absolutely welcome that. And then the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans people. That's also a rather audacious goal, as you can imagine, but it's one they are working toward full steam. And I listed some of the programs that are there and that are currently being pursued by the center. And we are looking for ways to grow activities there and to grow initiatives as well. So we always welcome input. And then finally, the Nimburo Cultural Center, located next to the STAMP, which has been around since 1971. Also, I listed a few of the initiatives that they're doing. There are many, many more. And the same thing applies. If you have ideas, if you have feedback, we would very much welcome hearing that from you, because these are both the LGBTQ Equity Center as well as Nimburo are student focused. Okay, they work with faculty and staff, but the real focus is on students and how we can be helping students. And that goes towards that's all students. There's space there for everyone. Okay, so I'm going to pause there, open it up for any questions you may have, items you might like to discuss. Yes? Do we pass the microphone?
Whatever's easier.
I think it would be good if I go on here.
So hi, thank you for coming. I just want to ask you a question concerning the program manager position. Is it open to students or not?
It's a really good question. I hate to say no to you right now, but it is actually a big full-time staff position. Yeah. The volume is such that we actually need it, unfortunately. Again, unfortunately, but fortunately. Right? Thank you.
Hi, thank you again for coming. I wanted to ask about something kind of specific. Steve asked last Tuesday in the demonstration on the Kelvin Mall. I know I talked to a lot of people who said about that, I'm a little confused about why. I don't know if you kind of feel like the city answer, maybe probably not, but about why those demonstrators weren't necessarily moving from campus. There were a number of big vile things that Diamondback and other sources have reported or said to students, and I appreciated that your office issued a statement pretty shortly afterwards. But I did a little research afterwards, and it's actually part of the demonstrations and leaflet policy that the university has that specifically says the person shall not engage in harassing, physically abusive, threatening, or intimidating conduct toward any person. And it seemed pretty clear to me that there was some harassing, threatening, even physically intimidating conduct that happened. So I'm a little curious about you kind of thought about that, had dialogue with other people in the administration about that, and now that was lacking in the administration. Sorry, that was kind of a long-winded question.
That's an excellent question, given that this just, we actually have a debrief meeting scheduled for some time, and I'm going to apologize, I can't keep track of my calendar, and I'm not sure exactly when that's happening. To talk a little further, I do have a little bit of information. I've had an opportunity to talk with some of the police that were actually there on the scene. I was not there, and let me take a step back first, and I think it's important in talking about these things to expose your own biases, and I want to give you mine. I've worked throughout the Midwest, and these characters are common there. Brother Jed actually has a circuit. He hits OSU 1 month, then he goes on to Iowa, then he hits Illinois. You know what I mean? So I'm accustomed to this, to be quite honest with you. I realize that it doesn't happen here on this campus, So I just want to make it, clear, my perspective of this is I'm used to these people being out in our public spaces, yelling vile things to people who pass because they have the First Amendment right to do so, so they sit out there and do it. Who doesn't have a life, I don't understand. So, but again, this is just my perspective of being accustomed to this type of activity. I realize it's something that doesn't happen here at Maryland. I spoke with a student today who said she's been here 3 years and has never seen such a thing happen. I think there are probably lots of good reasons for that. I think that there's so much rich fodder in the city of Washington, D.C. that there's never been a need to come to campus. But this particular group, and I apologize because I don't remember the name of them, came here intentionally. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right, to be provocative. Part of what they want to do is they want to get 2 reactions. One of them is they want students to become violent so that they can initiate lawsuits. And second, they want the university to try to remove them and deny them their rights so that they can pursue lawsuits. So that's basically what they're all about. I don't know the whole story. I wasn't out there when things began. I do think it does reach a critical point in crowd control where you may not be able to remove people. And at the time that I became aware of what was happening, there were a lot of people out there. And I realized the police may have been in a spot where the only way to remove them would have been to physically handcuff them and take them out. Policies, I think that's something we have to have a conversation about because while policies can control the members of our community, how do you control an outsider if it's not a law? And if a policy in fact does violate the Constitution is going to trump it. So I think that's something that we need to have conversations about internally as well as we revisit some of these policies. And I've already brought that up to with the Senate Executive Committee. So I think that's a really legitimate question. I think it's a good one. I realize that for a lot of students, this is really, really painful. And I shared my opinion with you because I want you to know my perspective, and I don't want you to think that I'm not at all sympathetic. I can imagine, I've had things yelled at me before, and I know what it feels like, and maybe it's just because I'm old and jaded and everything, I've got, you know, a thicker skin, but I understand how painful this had to have been if you were there, you know, or if you had friends who were there, or people that were impacted, and I'm truly sorry that it happened. I wish there were ways that we could deny people access to our campus. I'm coming from a private institution just previous to this one, and there was some beauty to that. I have to be honest, it had its own issues, you know, but there were certain things that we could control more than we can in a public space because we are a public institution. And so that raises some questions about who can gain access. I think we need to have a lot more conversations about what we do in these kind of situations. Is there ways that we can forestall these types of things from happening? By the way, this group has made it clear that they want to come back. So yeah, I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous. I'll be honest, I was thrilled with the student response. I've been chuckling about it ever since. I'm just so pleased that there could be love demonstrated in the face of hate, you know, and self-love too, in the face of that kind of hate and vitriol. So I'm proud of the students and the ways in which they reacted. You know, I would just ask that you refrain from doing anything that could get you in trouble. They were videotaping this whole thing, by the way. They were recording this whole thing in hopes of getting some kind of reaction that would allow them to then sue somebody. So this is very purposeful, and you know, which is in and of itself somewhat amazing. But I think the students conducted themselves very well in the counter protest. It's a hard situation. Like I said, we'll have the debrief and we'll have more information. I would like us to release a statement at that time telling y'all a little bit more about what was going on so that we as a community can be prepared as well. You know, and again, in revealing my biases, I'm used to students just walking by. You know, it's kind of, you know, if you're having a bad day and you need someone to yell at, they're a really nice target, but otherwise, you know, we just kind of got used to them and ignored them. And I'm not saying that this is what you have to do. I think, you know, you choose your own course of action. But I do want you to stop and think for a moment about the value of your attention. You know, if you look at media, think of millions and billions of dollars that go into advertisements to get your attention. Your attention's worth a lot. Yeah. So just be aware of who you're giving it to freely. Sorry, I sounded like your mother. Every now and then that comes out. Okay, I know that she had a question. Is this a question about the same thing? Sure. We're doing that again.
Okay, I just wanted to thank you again for coming. It's really nice to talk to you. I just wanted to ask you something, like a general question about something you mentioned in the beginning about like what does transparency mean? Because I think a lot of times transparency is used as like a buzzword when people don't actually have like tangible policy solutions in mind. And just in general, like on university campuses like our own, there tends to be this like tension between student body and student government and the administration in terms of like giving us the transparency that we deem appropriate versus like them being able to be efficient and effective in what they need to do. So my question is just, what would your advice be for our organization for the approaches we should take when we're working with the administration and trying to get specific policy solutions that we view as more transparent?
Yeah, that's a really smart question, and it's a hard one for me to answer. And the reason is because I think there's going to be a lot of variance. I don't think that there's any one solution because I think it's going to be issue dependent in many ways. I think that there are times in which folks can be a lot more open about what they reveal than others. And so that situational variation makes it hard for me to give you a solid answer, but I do think that there's a particular strategy that might be helpful. And that's sort of starting at the end game. If you're going to enact a policy, the first thing you should ask yourself is, what's the goal? What's the outcome that I'm looking for? Okay. And that may seem really simple, but it's actually a little bit more complicated. You know, because if you really sit and think through what that outcome is going to be, and then start working the other way toward, okay, what do I think will get me to this outcome? That's where you start running into a few wrinkles in the fabric, so to speak. because often when we enact policies, we have these unintended consequences. So I think that this policy, the policy of public space, for example, is a perfect example. So let me just throw that out at you. Because it was just revised just prior to this incident happening on Tuesday, which there was a certain irony there. So it had gone through the Senate. And it was my first Senate meeting, so I read the entire policy exhaustively because I wanted to be prepared for my first meeting. And the thing that jumped out at me is that there are, for external people coming to campus, there is the right for public speech is only allowable at Navarro Cultural Center, the amphitheater, the Navarro Amphitheater. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I get where we want to restrict people like those people who came to campus on Tuesday to a specific space. But is that a good space? I mean, think about it. The original policy was written a long time ago. Okay, so this is just a revision that the Senate worked on. At the time that that policy was written, think of who came to campus and wanted to give public speeches. Maybe Louis Farrakhan. Okay, individuals of that ilk. It wasn't the sort of extreme right that was coming to campus to give those kinds of talks. So at that point in time, it seemed as though that the Navarro Amphitheater would be the ideal space to have those types of talks. But now, the Navarro Cultural Center is a place where Black students specifically, all students are welcome, but Black students specifically go there to gather, to be social, congregate together, and to be each other's company. Is this the place where we want people, like those people who were here on Tuesday, spewing out their hatred? Particularly if it's a speaker who is speaking out against racial identities. Is this where we want such a speaker? So there are ways in which policies can have unintended consequences, particularly if they aren't revisited over time. So starting with the outcome is a really helpful way to do it, and then working your way back and thinking of everything you're going to bump into along the way as you're enacting it. Thinking about the populations that you're going to impact, the programs that you're going to impact, the other policies that you're going to collide with. Is that helpful?
So, radical groups, I know this is not an easy question to answer at one time, but radical groups, like last Tuesday, make marginalized groups feel unsafe. In addition, although these may seem like simply hateful words, they have the ability to provoke other radicalized people. So, given the current climate of radicalization, what are you planning on doing, or what things do you have in effect right now to keep minorities on campus safe against hate crimes?
So that is a huge question in so many ways, and I think that we actually need to take a step back and determine how we're defining safety for a start, and really level set expectations. And this is where transparency is important, is having some honest conversation about what the institution can actually do in terms of ensuring safety. I think those are important conversations we just need to have them, so that we can do some expectation setting. That being said, I think that the most important thing that we can do is ensure that we're adequately resourced, because we can't often predict that hate speech is going to be used. And so we need to ensure that we're prepared to deal with the outcomes. And my understanding is that in the past, there were groups working together to provide follow-up programming. That doesn't seem to be the case now, and that's something that I would like to resuscitate, so that people have opportunities to go to different spaces at different times. I mean, I know that the LGBT Equity Center did open its doors and invited students in for conversation, but it can't just be a one-time thing. If you're in class, you're not going to be able to make it. So we need to determine how can we appropriately resource these types of events in the future.
On a student level, what do you recommend as a way to get different communities together, to get people speaking, talking, dialogue, like from our perspective and our end, what can those SGA do, and also what can we learn as students in your research and what you see to help facilitate instead of enslaving communities to create them?
want to push the NCBI initiative that we're going to be rolling out this spring. Okay, again, as I said, we're going to be focusing on faculty and staff for a specific reason. They're the ones who create community for everyone who comes in. You know, those are the people that are here for the long run. Some of you are here for a long time as well, I understand, but usually not as long as our faculty and staff are if we're doing the right thing from the justice. And so that's why we want to start to ensure that we're creating a safe space for students to enter, you know, so that you're not actually facing microaggressions in your classroom, you know, or in your labs or in other spaces or from staff that you're interacting with. So that's why we want to focus on them, but we're definitely going to create room for students to participate as well, and I hope that some of you are able to do so. I started an NCBI affiliated at the University of Iowa, and we invited student government to participate in, it's an all-day workshop, it's a full-day workshop. And after that, student government elected to make that mandatory for all student government leaders on an annual basis. So I think it's something that I would hope that you would experience, hope that you would be able to take advantage of, and that students will participate in as we roll that out. But even now, I was at the union earlier today for, I'm not going to be able to pronounce it because it's UM Diversity. UM Diversity. Okay, got it. I can articulate the letters in my head, but when I try and speak it, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But anyway, and I met with a group at that event. We had some good conversation, and you know, I addressed both the students and staff who were present at that event. But I think what I'll do is I'll talk with you about the student part of what I said and share that with you, because I don't think that students are fully aware, and I'm not saying that you aren't, but I don't think that many students are fully aware of what an opportunity this is to establish a network. I mean, college is many things. You're here to get an education, you're here to have fun, you're here to discover yourself and others, but this is also your time to form a network. The people around you in your programs are going to graduate at the same time that you are. You're going to enter the workforce together. This is your network, you know, and it's a network that can be international. And if you're not taking advantage of that, shame on you. I actually, and this holds true for faculty and staff as well. Faculty are a little more accustomed to this because they work within their disciplines, you know, so, but for staff as well, this is really important. I actually attended a conference when I was at Ohio State. I worked a lot with outreach and engagement, and attended an outreach conference, and during the first night reception where everyone's standing around awkwardly wondering what they're doing, I noticed a woman who was kind of off by herself, and so I went over to her and struck up a conversation and we began talking. It turned out that she was from South Africa. She was white off the Commons, and she had come to the conference, and she spoke English, but it had been a while, so she was a little rusty, so she was kind of, you know, hanging by herself. Maybe she felt a little self-conscious about her ability to speak. So we got into a conversation, discovered lots of mutual interests in our work, decided to collaborate. She came to the States to this conference every 2 years because of the travel. Decided to collaborate to see if we wanted to do something together in 2 years, which we did. We did a presentation together 2 years later at the same conference at a different location. And of course, this all results in enduring friendship. And so she had a significant birthday, and she said, "You must come to South," you know, during this whole time, she's like, "Oh, come to South Africa to visit me." And, you know, you do that, "Oh, yeah, we're going to visit you." And so she had a birthday, and she said, "I insist you must come to South Africa for my birthday party." And I said, "Okay." Bought my ticket, went to South Africa, and it was a mind-blowing experience. You know, I mean, I've lived all over the world. I've just traveled all over the world. I've lived all over the world. But it's really different when you go to a place you don't know and you know somebody and you actually get to see South Africa. I mean, I stayed at their house. You know what I mean? I got to talk with them and their neighbors and other people in the community. She worked at Stellenbosch University and was very involved in the anti-apartheid movement. You know, and so being able to talk with her and her white colleagues as well as her black colleagues about what that was all about and getting all of those different perspectives. You know, being around people who were, you know, willing to genuinely engage with me on this topic was amazing. In one of the villages, there was a fire that occurred while I was there. You know, talking with the emergency responders who actually worked with that because they were part of her larger network was really an opportunity in a lifetime. You know, so you never know where this networking is going to lead you. And your challenge to yourself should be to have the biggest possible network when you leave university. How huge can you make it? Make that a personal goal and a challenge. Make it big. Make sure it includes people who are nothing like you. I realize my time is probably, I saw someone glancing at their watch. I've been talking for a while.
I think we can do one more question just to respect. No one wants the last one. Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. I want to ask you about your perspective about international students. So what are the emerging issues with international students that you identify, and how would you address those issues? Within 3 months perspective that you have on campus, how would you shape your tactics that you want to tackle?
Thank you. That's an excellent question. One of the things that I've observed, and correct me if I'm incorrect, but I don't think that there is enough communication and collaboration among different offices that work with different populations, so that international students are sort of swept into this net of community and belonging. And I think that's a real miss on our part. I also know that there is so much turmoil happening, at various levels, that I think that it can often make people afraid to kind of touch a situation, right? And I think that's a fear we need to get past, because I think that international students and faculty and staff, for that matter, really add so much richness to our community. And shame on us if we're not taking advantage of it. I think that there are ways in which we can learn so much about ourselves from interacting with people who are not like us, even as we learn about different cultures. And I think that there are ways in which international students have so much to contribute that we're not gaining from as well. So I know that sounds a little flippy, and I'm kind of talking fast because I'm feeling self-conscious about how much time I'm taking here. But I mean that really sincerely. And I've actually talked with Ross, I can't remember his name, I can't remember his last name, but Ross, who heads international programs. And I'm a little confused about the structure too, but we need to have a lot more conversation about how we can tangibly move forward to make some of these things happen.
I know you don't come after that, you're walking on this one. Just to add on. Just to add on the international stuff, I know other schools have models that, I know Penn State, for example, has a really great international student model that maybe we could reach out to them and see what they're doing to make their international students feel more integrated within the actual campus culture. Because I have definitely seen that for and diversity inclusion. We don't even learn up with international students. So that was a really great comment for sure. We actually have programs at Penn State and specifically where they're actually they have international students and students at Penn State from America all together with the class and just speaking on the program. It's not like a course or anything, but maybe we can implement something there or see what their models are like and faculty a solution or add a solution to that.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. And on that note, let me say, just send your ideas. Okay, please, I welcome them. If you see a good model somewhere and just want to make me aware of it, please send it along. A lot of great programming that I have taken credit for, and I've been privileged in that way, has come from students. At Iowa, we had a student who said, one of my best friends is an international student. We just happened to meet by chance. I wish we'd met from the very outset. And so we kind of thought, oh, well, that's kind of an interesting comment. Let's work with that. And so we created a program that was originally called Friends and Neighbors. And what we did is we paired an incoming international student with a domestic student, also an incoming freshman. And so they were in email contact with each other. We gave them each other's emails. So they were in email contact before they even arrived on campus. And then we had a welcome event where everyone got to meet each other. We did have some activities planned and meals and those types of things. And a lot of those relationships maintained the entire 4 years that students were on campus. And I think just little things like that can make such a difference. And it helps all of you build your network, right? It's also important. So thank you. So again, I welcome your ideas. Please do share those. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely.
So the next thing on speaker's time is just a polite reminder that the academic retreat, which is mandatory for all reps and cabinet members, is this Sunday in Charles Carroll Room in Stamp from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. If you can't make it for a reason, please let me know so we can set up meetings to catch you up, because that is when you all get finance trained. When you get finance trained. Which is something that you have to do. All right, moving on to the finance report. I know Ben isn't here. Is someone going to give this update, or are we just moving on?
I can.
Hey, y'all. Yeah, he's taking it in terms of and then budget appeals might happen next Wednesday, which we can talk about during the academic review. All right, cool. So first reading calendar, we've got two bills, F190925A, an act funding the staffing and equipment for the annual SGA crab feast, which will go to finance as a primary committee and alumni relations and traditions as a secondary. And then F190925B, a resolution condemning the presidential search process, sponsored by me on behalf of administration. Administration being SGA administration, not actual administration. I was confused about that for a couple of years in SGA, so I already know that now. And that's going to go to student affairs.
Point of information.
Yes.
Could you please explain why it was put as emergency legislation, just so that everybody knows?
Right. So emergency legislation is any legislation that is added to the docket after the Sunday deadline. It was added after the Sunday deadline because the listening session was on Tuesday, and we wanted to make sure we were anticipating for this bill as exec, but we weren't. You were hoping we wouldn't have to go through this process because we were hoping there was going to be other chances to contribute to the presidential search, but there won't be as of right now. So that is why we think that this bill has to happen, and it has to happen now. We are putting it on first reading instead of second reading, so that it can go to committee, and we as the legislature have more the say of what's in that bill, so that our messaging is united and representative of what SGA as a whole wants. Does that answer your question?
Point of information.
Yes.
So, what quantifies an emergency?
The fact that the process is starting and
No, not for
the legislation.
Just in general, when would something be? It's an emergency.
So in my time, it's only been used once, and that was for the Jordan McNair Valley, etc. I think in the past it's only been used by exec when things need to start now, and that realization happened after Sunday. Is that accurate?
Discretion of the speaker.
Yeah, everything's at the discretion. So now we're moving on to second reading calendar, F190918A, a resolution co-sponsoring the Council Center's Mental Health Awareness Week. Are there any student concerns on this bill? Seeing none, is there a committee report?
Hi everyone. We went over this bill in committee. We just have one friendly amendment in clause 9. We forgot the word will, but everyone else approved of this. I was the one abstention. It passed 23-0 to 1. And then, does anyone have any questions? Awesome.
So there's a couple things we can do like we did last week where we can approve the committee report with amendments, we can approve the committee report without amendments, or we cannot approve the committee report. So I'll take any motion.
Motion to approve.
Yes, there's been a motion to approve with amendments. Are there any seconds? Any objections? So approved. Is the body ready for the main question?
Yes.
Hearing yes, we'll move into a period of voting. All in favor of this bill, please raise your hands. All opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, the bill passes. So that's, the vote was 33-0, me being one abstention. All right, moving on to the second bill on our agenda. It is F190918B, a resolution supporting the Cool Food Pledge sponsored by our local representative. Are there any student concerns with this bill? Is there a committee report?
Yes, the committee reviewed this bill and we gave it a favorable report, 15-0-1. We had no real edits except in the action plan. If you scroll down, it's just literally changing toppers to tens, which I think is a friendly amendment. But yeah, it's a great bill. We love it. AG and our representative did a great job. Any questions?
Thank you. So again, 3 options. So I'll take any motion. Oh, is there a motion to approve? Is there a motion to approve with amendments? Are there any seconds? Second. Any objections? Seeing none, so approved. 2 amendments have been added. So is the body ready for the main question? Yes. Yes, hearing yes, we'll move into a period of voting. All in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, the bill passes. Moving on to our third bill, F190918D, an act to create a red zone campaign sponsored by our Cambridge representative. Are there any student concerns on this bill? Is there a committee report?
Hi guys, Elena has a concussion, so I'm here. Or she has concussion symptoms, so I sent her home. She said basically that they loved the bill, that the committee report was favorable with the vote 7-0-1. They added the name #ReclaimTheRed, which the committee voted on, and they added specifically that they want full SGA support of the campaign in all its pieces. So I think they had a few amendments. Questions?
All right. So the options again are approving with amendments, just approving, or not approving.
Motion to approve the amendments.
There's been a motion to approve with amendments. Are there any seconds? Objections? All right, hearing none, so approved. I would encourage.
Point of information
yes.
or order. Why is it enacted instead of resolved?
So yes, an act is anything that has us do something, like create a campaign, spend money, etc. Resolution is more us saying an opinion. So since they were actually doing something, I deemed it an act. Does that kind of answer the question? Okay. So then you'll notice that all the therefore, it's therefore be it enacted instead of therefore be it resolved. That's the difference between writing a resolution and an act. All right. Is the body ready for the main question?
Yes.
Hearing yes, we'll move into a period of voting. All in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, seeing that, the bill passes with 33-0-1. All right, there's no tabled bill. No follow-ups, I don't think, unless, Jake, do you want to talk about the bisexual?
The bisexual
Yes,
disability.
do you want to talk about?
So as a lot of people know who follow me on social media, I was in Texas this weekend, and I, unfortunately, due to that, did not have a chance to make it to the event. But from what I've heard from people who attended, it was an awesome event, and I'm extremely proud that SGA sponsored it, and I'm also happy that I was the one who was able to spearhead the effort through the proposal of the bill and its passing, and I'm just very excited about it. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank you. So exec updates, Madam President.
So I just wanted to let you guys all know that I have a meeting with Dr. Zacher, who's the interim Vice President of Student Affairs, tomorrow to talk about policies surrounding kind of what happened with the demonstration last week, and just to get more updates on that and how we can move forward. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. I had a coffee with the presidents of RHA and GSG, Emily and Annie, respectively, on Monday. Just a reminder that they are other two governing bodies on campus, and that if you guys are working on something that may pertain to grad students or working on something that may pertain to the Resident Hall Association, happy to connect you guys with them. They're both really wonderful, and shared governance is great. Safety walk was really great. Shout out to Duran. He did super, super well. Give him a hand. But that was really great. Thanks for everyone who came. I was on the city group, and it went really well. Yesterday was the presidential search listening session. Thank you to everyone who came. If anyone wants to read what I said, read what I said at the meeting, let me know. I wrote it down. Please read the bill very carefully. These are serious recommendations that we'd be making to the Board of Regents. So please understand what that means, and make sure that you guys feel comfortable about this bill moving forward. Happy to talk to you guys about it further if you have questions. And we'll be talking about next steps as well in exec. And if anyone wants to be part of those conversations or has any thoughts, let me know. So Dan's going to be talking in Dan's video. He's going to be talking more about the City Hall ordinance, but just a huge shout out to him. He and Julia, they were really, really great, and they should be both really proud of themselves. Thanks Josie and Jacqueline. I don't think Jacqueline's here, but thanks Josie for staying with me all night. We were there to basically midnight. It was great. And it wasn't exactly the outcome that we wanted, but we were able to get a bunch of amendments, which is really, it was successful in that. So it wasn't ultimately what we wanted, but there were some changes made. We're going to be monitoring that going forward, and we're going to be working with all sorts of different stakeholders about ways we can monitor implementation, making sure it's actually having the effect that the city council actually wants, and making sure it's not being unreasonably harsh on students. Today I also had, does anyone have questions about any of it? Yeah, Tim.
Is there anything at this point that could change the ordinance being implemented? I know it passed. Is there any because I know that as a vast majority, higher student body of college are opposed to that, and nobody has that passed.
Yeah, so there's definitely, what's lucky about city government is that things can be amended very easily. So the idea is that we're going to just talk to residents and make sure that we're getting, we're being aware when things are falling under that ordinance and students being potentially fined, and we just want to monitor that and make sure that those things are being reasonable. What they added was a look back period, so basically in a year they're going to have, or I don't know if it was a year exactly, but they had a look back period in which they would evaluate whether or not the ordinance was doing what it wanted, what the city government wanted. Right now, it's where it is. It doesn't go into effect until 44 days, I think, now. But basically, until then, we're going to be talking with various members on the city council. We're going to be talking to the landowners, and various different people to see if there are still amendments we can make and that kind of stuff. Or Jamie, did you?
Elections.
Elections? Oh, yeah. If you guys aren't registered to vote, just saying. Elections are happening in November, and the list of eligible and filed candidates is on the city government website.
So I know that when I was watching it, they were talking about doing like a quarterly review after it goes into effect as well. So like if this isn't like in use for like 3 months and it is terrible, we can go back for a review. There are also like a couple amendments that they discussed but didn't actually go through, which is like adding a warning, getting rid of like the number of people altogether, and then there are a couple other ones I don't remember.
Yeah, we're gonna have to track them. Jared was there last night too. He gave great testimony.
So like they had like, I don't know. I think it at least got through that a lot of the students who live in College Park hate it a lot, and they're willing to like at least try to amend the process in the coming months. But
yeah, Dan and I still have like a list of things that we really want to get addressed, and like we're not going to stop having the conversation. So we're going to keep the pressure on for that. Does anyone have any more questions about that ordinance? And Hannah, if you want to work with us on that, let me know. My last thing was today I had a meeting with the Middle States Commission. As you may or may not know, our accreditation is under review by the Middle States Commission due to various instances that happened last year. That accreditation is on warning, which means that the commission sees us improving, that they don't think we're spiraling, so that's good, but that we need to make like substantial improvements in order to get off this warning, otherwise we're going on probation. So we had a shared governance meeting today with SGA, GSG, and the Senate. There are a lot of like productive steps being taken. Obviously there's still work to be done, but as of now, our degrees mean something, don't worry. And basically we'll have a better sense of steps moving forward in spring semester. So yeah.
For the warning status, is that if we mess up again, we're going to get on probation, or is it we stay in warning, we're going to be probation?
So they could choose to keep us on warning, but the idea is that we need to start making improvements. So there needs to be things that are addressing that oversight or overreach of governance. And if nothing's being done, that's when they could then put us on probation. Yeah.
And this is like university as a whole.
Yeah. So basically, our accreditation body, it's federal regulations. So all of the middle states, it's a region based. They all get evaluated. We met with our like liaison today, and so that's like how that process works. Yeah.
Are there any like broader implications for things like warning versus probation? Like what does that substantially mean?
Yeah. So probation would be bad. A warning, the way that they explained it to us is that a warning means that they have faith that things are going to get better. Probation would be a more serious, things need to start changing very quickly. The liaison was very she was happy today. She was excited about the things that we had already put into place, and so she was very receptive, and yeah, things are looking good. Cool. Thanks, guys. Oh wait, yeah.
Like what you said, productive steps have already been taken.
Mm-hmm.
Like what steps have you or other people you've been working with or talking to taken, and what's your next steps? How do you vision this process go?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we need to discuss moving forward. GSG and GSG and SGA, or the president, so Annie and I haven't been exactly pleased with the steps that have been taken towards our governing bodies, because there haven't been any in terms of that. But there have been better conversations being had with the Board of Regents and the University Senate So building relationships there, stuff like that, creating more accountability structures. There's certain things like that. With the new chancellor search, that's a big thing in terms of creating those relationships. And I wrote a few others down, and I can't remember them off the top of my head. But Annie and I are going to be having conversations about the things that we're trying to push for. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys. So I just have 3 quick things. I wrote them down. So the first one is that we are basically complete with their Provost Student Advisory Council. So we're just looking for 1 more SGA member. We will meet twice a semester. It'll only be like 1 hour long each. So if you guys are interested in being a part of that, just Slack me. The second thing is that I just want to update you guys. I'm still working with Associate Provost Cohen on the consolidation of resources. They are now working with IT on that, so it's moved along a level, which I'm personally excited about because that means we're 1 step closer to having students have accessible information in one place. And third, I'm hopefully about to start working with Associate Dean Stevens, who does a lot of stuff with DNI too. And she wanted to know if any students were also interested in things like they'll bring up task force sometimes or ideas they're working on they'll have student input on. So if you'd also be interested in working on some pilot things with diversity and inclusion in a way, let me know that too. That is all.
All right. So very brief. I set up my monthly meetings with John Zacher, the interim VP of Student Affairs. So if you have any issues you want me to bring up to him during our meetings, let me know. First one's October 4th, so feel free to just Slack me. I've been working with the President's Commission on Disability Issues, and there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline for that. So if you're interested in working on advocacy or promotion of what disabilities are, feel free to contact me. Thank you to everyone who came to the Safety Walk. It was super, super fun. And if you just got assigned to the Student Affairs Committee, feel free to fill out that form before our meeting next week. Does anyone have any questions? Cool, thanks.
Okay, this week DART sent out the invitations finally, and if you haven't received an invitation yet, you need to let Rachel know, and we will be contacting everyone with the alumni they're paired with to reach out to them and invite them to the event, and we want to get all the alumni to come. And then remember, Crab Feast is October 29th, and we want as many people there as possible, and the 100-year celebration is November 3rd.
So I don't have much updates. One thing I would say is we're still in the work of forming our teams and committee for communication. And as soon as that's done, we'll let you know on the updates on everything. But here's some fun part. We did some fun time with the TFTI. So let's go. So who remembers what TFTI is? Thanks for the invite. So, here we go. Right. Next, yeah. So, I got one. It says Zoe went to the food truck on September 16th, and it was closed. This is karma for not inviting me to get lemonade. So, everyone, TFTI, right? Next. Jim asked me if I wanted to get food and told me he was going to McDonald's. I said no, but then he went to Hyattsville to get tacos. TFTI. I didn't know what I was getting into. But we had some fun people. We had a lot of fun. It was great. I'm exposing everyone here. All right, next. Jinwoo skipped. I'm getting called out so much.
That was a fun phone call we had. Yes.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so here's the thing. Next slide. I forgot. That was me when I realized it. That was me like, what the? Okay. But instead, I had some time. I wouldn't say fun. That's me in the middle. That's pretty creative. Let's take a picture like the next time. Next. See, if you look on the pictures, I'm not smiling, right? Because I remember you guys matter a lot more to me. Next. Look at this. I'm not smiling. I'm not smiling. Okay, next. Jake in Austin, Texas, pretending like he's one of them. No. This is Maryland. Next.
Go Turks.
Look at all these pictures. Wow, 345 likes. Whoa.
Hey, there's over 1,000 now.
Okay, over 1,000. Whoa, flex. Okay, I see. Next. Everyone who watched Pelosi call for impeachment. They didn't tell me when I was in the closet doing homework like a good student. Okay, number one.
Hide your phone.
Okay, Maggie, number one. What kind of good student goes to closet to study? And number two, we were pretty, we told everyone that we were doing it.
Not me.
Well, because you're in closet. But next, yeah, we had fun watching Pelosi announce on the impeachment. So we had a lot of fun just interacting, talking politics for what, 20 minutes? Yeah, 20 minutes.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. So this is this is what TFTI is. I know it's really it can be fun. So let's try to keep it up like this. But TFTI next. Here are the events that you are invited to. Okay. So number one. So we have a Latinx Heritage Month related event. So there is a Latino style dinner on Thursday. It's hosted by a Latino, Latina, right? I think. I think so. Yeah, maybe. So there is the organization. I don't know. I put everything on the what is it? The social media. Which give it some likes, everyone, please. And yeah, so the dinner is on September 26th, which is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Is there anyone who can go? Like, I would love to have some company with me. Sure? Okay. Anyone else? Please Slack me. Okay. I don't want to expose myself like this. At the door, it's $12. So start 2 days, and you will, yeah, have fun time there. Also, there's on Tuesday, there's a Bienvenida gala. That's cool. All the details are on the Instagram. Next, SGA events. SGA academic retreat is on Sunday. So I missed out on social retreat, right? But I'll be there at the academic retreat because I have to convince y'all that I'm doing my job. It's on Sunday at 11, so please be there or be squared. Another thing is finance budget workshop on Tuesday. Yeah, that's Ben. Please keep him accompanied. I saw it. He looks stressed every time he goes there. So remember those days. So that's my time for TFTI. Please next. For the any accusation or exposure you want to do, go to tr.ps/TFTI, or there's a channel TFTI. So yeah, that's all the things I have for TFTI. Yeah. No, it's not a website for it. It's the yeah. There you go. TFTI. You can expose people like this. Yeah. And yeah, do that in the chat too, please. Yeah. We can talk about the logistics later. I don't know. I am busy with designing things for you. But yeah, please give all the posts that I posted likes because I'm thirsty for likes. Thank you. That's all.
Hi guys, I'm going to be doing the DNI update today. So the first thing, the DNI committee, as well as Senate, just wanted to say, we're really excited to have Dr. Dodge present for us tonight at GDM, and we've been in close contact with her regarding initiatives for the school year. So we appreciate all your guys' questions. It went really well. Today, SGA represented at the UMD Diversity Expo Resource Fair. Shout out to everyone who came. Thank you so much for helping us table. It was a really cool event. We got to talk to a lot of different people, hopefully get those committees all stocked up. September 15th through October 15th is Latinx Heritage Month. So just keep that in mind. We might go along with other Latinx organizations hosting a variety of events in honor of the month. And then if you saw our post on Facebook, Jen Wolf made a beautiful graphic on Instagram about Latinx Heritage Month. So go like that, comment. And then also given the protests that took place last week, D&I would like to look more deeply into the university's policy regarding protests and potential harassment that ensues. So I know David is working kind of with that along with D&I. So if you want to give any input on that, join the D&I channel or talk to David. Yeah, is there any questions? Beautiful, thank you.
How's everybody doing? I'm actually able to do my update for once. I'm psyched. So some really big things have come out. If I've talked to you last week, you've definitely heard me talk about the NSELV data. So that's a study Tufts does every year for us to track election data. So for us right now, that grew from the last midterm election from a 19.3% response rate for UMD students to 46, which is a huge jump. We were expecting 30%, so we're really psyched about that. And this is on an off year, so I can only imagine how good it's going to be for next year for the election year. So check out your response rate. I've linked it right there for your academic college. Some colleges did better than others. CMNS, so make sure that you're looking at that, and we'll talk about how we can do a little more targeted messaging towards academic legislators to get your college out to vote. We've had some initiatives confirmed to get some good voter education stuff out for local elections, so that'll be in the diner. We're going to have tent cards and posters, and then for McKeldin, we're going to have those screensavers that usually say like, welcome to the library, everyone's welcome to the library. Some of them will have information on local elections, which will be great. And those will be running for before registration deadline, which is the 8th of October, and then before elections, which are November 5th. And then Churchville website's back up and running. It's not been fully updated yet because Stamp was hacked, so we're getting it back up there this week. And then if there's any changes you guys think we should be making to make it more effective for students, take a look through and let us know. But it will, I think, hopefully not have midterm stuff up there in the next couple days. To jump back to David, something very exciting. So we've confirmed that we're having a Churchville conference on the 18th. We're having a lot of great speakers on that, so keep your calendar open. It'll be from the 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. I'm not going to announce all the speakers yet until they're a little more confirmed, but it's going to be some good speakers. And then on the community engagement side, which Richa's heading up, she's been planning a Clean City project with IFC PHA. So it'll either be October 6th or 13th. Keep an eye out for that, so SGA can get a little more involved in the community. Cool. Any questions? Awesome.
Hey guys, not too long update today. Just going to keep you guys abreast of some information and some initiatives. So for us with HEA Day of Action, still waiting on ABTS. Hopefully we have a date confirmed by next week, but that's still in flux. We are beginning to contact state legislators this week for the town hall that we spoke about. So we're going to finalize the date for that in the coming week, and then send out emails to the state legislators that we want to come participate in that. It'd be a really great way to start some dialogue before the session between state legislators and students on campus. Alan and I have also been working on our state legislative agenda. So we're meeting with the university administration that deals with that next week. So we're still using the time in between to sort of solidify some of the things that we want to talk about. So you'll see there's 4 things up there right now that are kind of on our radar. Obviously, we are going to flesh it out more, and we hope to add some things to it. So if any of those interest you, please let me know so that we can get you guys in the loop and you guys can help with the efforts with those individual areas. Also, if you have any other areas, any other piece of legislation, concerns, if you're, again, part of any student groups or know of any that have specific piece of legislation or policy that they want to see advocated for, just reach out to me. And then towards the city council ordinance, again, shout out to everyone that went yesterday. I wasn't there, sadly, but I watched the live stream, and it was great to see all the student involvement. Saw Ireland speak, that was great, nice job. But it was great to see SGA represented there, especially with Dan and everyone. So we're going to be working in the coming days to sort of, as Ireland said, try to collaborate with everyone involved to make sure the implementation is implemented the way we want to see it happen, and work through any kinks as they come up. So that's all I have.
Hey guys, thank you all for passing Shoham's bill. If you guys want any of the flyers, I have a few extra to distribute around your colleges, but don't take a flyer unless you're actually going to post it up. Also, we're tabling at the Terps Take Care Fair, and we're painting rocks. It's super cool. If you table, you can take a rock home. So please just sign up for that. And the committee members are hard at work, let me tell you. You guys are going to be sick of health and wellness, but I know that. But I won't. The UMD Server Tailgate is this Friday. It's at 4:30 in Lot 1E. If you want to go, it's really great just to show support for a little bit. It'll be fun. Also, get your flu shots. I just got mine today, and it didn't even hurt. Australia just had their worst flu season, and we model our flu off of them because, you know, the whole hemisphere thing. So yeah, just definitely get your flu shot, and that's it. Yeah, this summer's already getting over 30
Hey guys, I'm giving Elena's update. She still has concussion symptoms. Elena wants to shout out Maggie for an amazing social retreat. Title IX had their first advisory board this past Thursday and had 25 plus people attend. Super exciting stuff. She also learned about application of new state laws that will pay for lawyers for students on either side of sexual assault cases through the Maryland Coalition Against Sexual Assault College Consortium, and also with the bill that was just passed for the Red Zone Project. Elena wants everyone to join hashtag Reclaim the Red Channel on Slack if you're interested in being involved in planning. That's spearheaded by Maggie, myself, another Josie, and Jared on S&P committee. We're going to start a social media campaign next week, and we want a lot of groups to help out. We're going to be putting on an activity guide, and we're also going to be working with RHA with social media and provide events for hall councils, and we want to partner with DFSL, which is the Department of Fraternity and Sorority Life, and Elena has a meeting with them tomorrow.
Everybody. Sorry if I sound a little congested. I have a head cold. But my updates are pretty low-key. Our next SGA recognition deadline is October 4th by 5 p.m. So if you guys know any student groups who were denied the first time or who have formed since our first recognition period and want to be SGA recognized, tell them to apply by the same rules as last time by October 4th. And student groups is beginning to work on our projects. We've only met twice without having to talk about SGA recognition, so they're still kind of in the beginning phases, but it looks like we're going to be doing a cross-cultural mixer in which we're going to partner with SGA D&I and possibly other campus entities. So if you guys have any info on student groups that you think should participate in that, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And we will also be doing a sustainability project, which is still again in the works, but we're going to be, I'll give you more information on that once we have a little more detail. And as far as our kind of year-long floating projects go, it looks like we're going to be tackling a lot of TerpLink resources, TerpLink Streamline, TerpLink feedback. So if any of you guys have some pretty strong opinions on how bad TerpLink is, and if you want any changes made to that, please let me know, because we're going to try to make that happen. Any questions? No. Okay, cool.
two updates. The climate strike was great. Over 100 Terps joined us at McKeldin Library, and we walked over to the metro for the strike, and even more met us at the metro, so it was a really good time. And then I met with Mary Perk's Fossil Free campaign today to talk about how SSC can support them in their initiatives this year. So, yeah.
Can we get him some lighting?
Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Dan's weekly video. In all seriousness, I have a few things to talk about, specifically in relation to last night's passed ordinance, and that's really going to be my whole update. So, as many of you know, last night there was an ordinance passed in regards to unruly social gatherings. I want to make it clear that although it did pass, we made great strides from where we were a week and a half ago when we first started talking to council members and trying to address the issues that we had. So the way the bill ended is, you can look on the city's website, I'm sure it's the one that was originally presented, but there were 4 amendments made to it. Number 1 is that it raised it from 4 people to 8 or more people, which is helpful legally in PG County and in College Park. You can have 5 people living in a house. We're glad it was raised. We would have liked to see it raised a little bit more, but at least it was raised. Number 2 is that it leveled out the landlord fines. So the concern that we have is that even though it's illegal, landlords will pass on their fines to residents. So it can't happen, but the city basically says they can't do anything about it. So they leveled the fines for the landlord so that instead of getting essentially a $1,500 fine, you could be getting a $1,000 fine. Again, still not great, but at least it's something. A third is something that we really like actually, and it's on that third violation. If the landlord were to lose their renter's license, instead of those people living in the house having to move out immediately, they would go into effect at the end of the lease period, so they would be able to live there throughout the rest of their lease. We still wanted to see that window closed from 2 years to 1 year, which it unfortunately is not, but at least it's protecting students from getting kicked out of their housing year. And the last was a clarification on double jeopardy. I still have some issues with this. The clarification is essentially that you can't get charged for a noise ordinance violation and a noise nuisance under this new unruly social gatherings clause. However, you still could be charged for noise violation and one of the other aspects of the nuisance, even though noise is already included in the nuisance. So we still have some issues with that. So here's what's happening moving forward. We gotta leave the past in the past and we gotta work with what we have. I don't deny we're going to be monitoring the situation closely. We're going to be in these meetings with council members. I have council members who have been texting me since the meeting who want to meet. We really want to make sure that we're contributing to a great college park and being one college park and not different college parks between the university and the rest of the long-term residents. So we'll be monitoring it. We'll be working with the city to really make sure that the implementation is okay and not being misused or abused. And if it is, we're going to call them out for it. It's as simple as that. We're not going to mess around with our students being in jeopardy because of a new ordinance. One thing I want to say is thank you to everyone who watched, who came out. Shout out Josie and Jacqueline. They were standing outside before they eventually were able to come inside. Some great live tweets on Slack last night updating people. I know a lot of people in Trinity sorority life came out with probably around 60 students. It was overflowing the room. People were leaving so other students could come in. It really showed that students were invested in College Park politics and invested in where they live, and that we recognize that there are problems within the city and we want to fix them. We don't want more punitive measures, but we want to fix them, and I think that really showed the city and the long-term residents that last night. One landlord said that it was landlords getting other landlords out. I want to say no. It was students getting students out, and it was students who cared, who got their friends to come and their friends to come and pack their cars and pack their school. And we need to see more of that. I'm sure PJ is going to talk about this, or did already, but you have to register to vote by October 8th. And voting is extremely important. And no matter the situation, you got to vote. And there are going to be 2 questions on the ballot this year beyond the elected officials that are going to be important for you to vote on in terms of extending terms from 2 years to 4 years. Register to vote in College Park, do it by the 8th, and let's talk. There's going to be a lot of city stuff to come, and I can't wait to see you all soon.
So we'll move into comments from the go to the council.
I just want to thank everyone that came out for the social retreat. I know we had a lot of fun. It was fun getting to know all of you guys, especially the new legislators that came out. I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your Saturdays to do that. And I'm going to try and plan a couple more events for this semester as well as next semester to get to know each other outside of these walls. So pay attention to Slack.
I forgot to say this during my updates, but I ran into multiple administrators, university staff and stuff who really appreciated the way that SGA spoke about this ordinance and said that our bill was really great. So I just wanted to tell you guys all that because first of all, like, I want you guys to know that administrators do know what we're saying and do appreciate the things that we say. So know that this isn't, like, the things that happen in this room do reach people. And also to just let you guys know that.
We're going to have a sale for 5 adults at the grocery sale at Montgomery Hall from 9:30 to 1:30 a.m. tonight. If you're walking by there, maybe after a rails-based event, please come by and get your groceries. Yeah. Along with it, yeah.
Hi, my sorority's having our burgers and fries with Gamma Phi this coming Friday. You all should buy a ticket. It'll be great. It's also burgers, fries, and ice cream. If that changes anyone's idea, I know we changed my opinion. But yeah, just send my Venmo. You can Slack me and I can send you it. And I know Ireland's going to be there, which is super cool. And she needs some friends to go with, so. It's from 4 to 8 p.m. Yes.
Is the ice cream extra?
No, the ice cream's included. $5.
Say less.
Better than football.
Hi guys, so I'm AJD. I posted it on the Slack, but Maybelline is coming to the University of Maryland at College Park, so it'll be their first time ever coming. We're going to have a pop-up tour. It's going to be in 2 weeks from now, October 7th to October 8th. So I'd love to see all your beautiful faces there. It's a bunch of free stuff, like makeup and food and everything, so yeah, just try to promote that out there.
I currently am running a book drive for the Maryland Book Bank. They take books for all age groups, like from small children to adults, and textbooks and exam prep books are no longer that are older than 5 years past the date that you're used it for. So I personally just want to do it because every child should have books to read and every adult should have those resources too, and I don't think that should be limited to those who can afford it. And they give books for free, or if you want to join as a member, you can pay the certain amount. So if you guys have any books, textbooks, anything that you're getting rid of, I am doing that as like my personal senior year project. So just want to bring your
Any other? Alright. Unfortunately, we do not have Ralph time because Manya is sick with strep, fever, and etc. So next week we will have 2 Ralph times. She will coordinate that. So I don't know who it is. We're gonna have to wait. I don't know. Might be you. Might not be you. I don't know. Anyways, I'll take any motions.
Motion to adjourn.
Any seconds? Any objections?
It's a break. I'm going to be the one.